Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is Fatal. I hope everyone's been doing wonderful. So today we're going to be going over the Pulsar XLITE V2. These mice were put out in a limited edition of 3000, and this is going to be the retro edition that we're going to be going over. Now, I didn't have the opportunity to actually use the original XLITE, so I really can't compare 100% between the two, but I will do my best to point out as many differences as I know between the two. And the differences are going to be on paper because I don't have the actual XLITE, the original. But I can tell you this from using just about all of the Pulsar X2 mice, that other than the shape, you are still getting an affordable, well-built mouse. If you're into Ergo, like some of the XLITE Ergo mice, the XLITE V2 might be a good affordable option for you. And this is going to be wireless as well, so you know that kind of replaces some of the Ergo mice with the XLITE lineup. So with all of that being said, let's dive in and see what's good and what is not as good with the Pulsar XLITE V2. If you guys are ready to go, let's go. Okay, so let's get going here. The performance of the XLITE V2 is still quite nice, as the XLITE V2 is using the Pulsar 3370 sensor, which is the same sensor that the Endgame Gear XM2we is sporting. Still a very high notch sensor in the mouse world for sure. And the click latency, when you set it to 0 milliseconds, is the best setting you're going to get for the click latency. But of course, that is still up to you in that arena. Some like snappy clicks and some like it a little slower, depending on their game style and game you are playing. Now for the battery, it can be expected to last you around 2 weeks depending on the hours of gaming you put the V2 through. But all in all, to most of us gamers, the XLITE V2 will have more than enough battery life to keep us happy. The battery type has a capacity of 300 mAh. The skates that come on the Pulsar XLITE V2 are pure PTFE skates. If you have used any of the Pulsar mice, the skates are very good and glide really well on surfaces like the Saturn Pro, most glass pads, Artisan Zero, and probably just about any surface you want to use. The build and the quality of the XLITE V2 is very well implemented. I do not get any creaking or noises when squeezing the side of the mouse. Always a good feeling, especially for the vice grippers out there in the heat of the game. The clicks on the Pulsar XLITE V2 compared to the original XLITE is the original has a lighter clicks than the V2 because the original comes with Omrons versus the Hawano blue shell pink dots in the V2. The Hawano blue shell pink dots are a little more firm when pressing the switch in. Again, the type of switch is going to be personal preference depending on your playstyle and how loose you like your switches. For those that have never heard a Hawano blue shell pink dot switch, let's give a click sound test. I will use the Xtrfy M42 for comparison since the M42 uses Omron switches. So we're going to start with the V2 first. Mouse 1. Mouse 2. Then we're going to go over here to the side clicks. A little bit thonkier. And then the scroll wheel click. And the scroll wheel scroll. Alright, so let's switch over here to the M42. And the side clicks on the M42. And the scroll wheel on the M42. As you can see, the scroll wheel on the M42 and the mouse 1 and 2 buttons are a little bit smoother and a little bit easier to press in. Okay, so let's talk holes. I'm not a real big fan of holes in a mouse because they tend to hinder a user's grip. They can be good at times to help with placement and keeping your fingers in place, but they can also become uncomfortable for some that want more freedom from a mouse to move their fingers around. If this mouse is made again, I would love to have the option of no holes. Really think that would be a great move personally. But if you are a claw gripper, the side holes could help to make sure your fingers always go to the same position when grabbing the mouse. The side clicks on the XLITE V2 are medium to light when pressing them in. You do have to press them in a little harder than most mice, but not too bad. In the Ergo arena, I would like these side switches to be a little more extended out. I say this because you don't want your mouse accidentally moving when trying to aim, do you? I keybind these switches to reload and resupply in Battlefield 2042. So as I'm sure many out there use their side buttons for different uses. So yeah, bring them out a little further, Pulsar. Clicks should be almost instant. You shouldn't have to press them all the way into the body of the mouse. Since we did the scroll clicks a while ago and everything, I'm not going to actually do those again, but I would like to touch up on this subject. For me, the scroll wheel is very nice and smooth, and I do not have any complaints with the scrolling in game. And as far as the click on the scroll wheel, it takes maybe medium pressure, about the same as all of the other Pulsar mice on the market. As an early on owner of the EC3C, and the Skull Mini, of which I do not have in hand right now, that is what the XLITE V2 could be compared to. If you have had those mice, you're pretty much going to know what this V2 feels like. You will get most of your palm contact to the left hand side of the XLITE V2 Mini, just so you can get a feel for where your palm will be sitting. As someone that generally don't use Ergo mice, it does take some getting used to, believe me, because I'm used to using like the X2 type mice. And finally, that brings me to the coating. I personally like the coating that Zowie uses on their gaming mice. Not too grippy, not too loose, not too sticky. Would love to see Pulsar using a more grippy coating to keep the slipping down when using any of their Pulsar mice. The V2, I think, could use a little bit stickier grip, in my own opinion. Well, that just about does it for me for my review of the XLITE V2 Mini. Links below if the V2 is something you can see yourself purchasing. Other than the side switches and the coating, I think it's a very good cost to quality purchase for a wireless mouse without breaking the bank. The XLITE V2 can be picked up at Amazon or the Pulsar website for $79.95 plus shipping. Well, that concludes my review of the XLITE V2 Mini. Please be sure to check out some of my other reviews on my channel. Hope this video was useful. If so, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. With all of that being said, this is Fatal. Peace out.